Hello, students. Welcome back to another high-yield session. Exam season is literally right around the corner, and I know Indian economy is a huge chunk of your syllabus. So today we're going to tackle one of the absolute most critical topics, Indian agriculture. तो चलिए समझते हैं completely step by step all the foundational concepts, the crucial data points, and those structural issues you absolutely need to know. Keep those notebooks open and ready because we're going to hit some direct, exam-winning points in today's explainer.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We'll start with the basics of agriculture, move right into India's farm economy stats, and then unpack the GDP and growth data. After that, we'll dive into the land holding challenge, check out the main features of Indian farming, and finally do a quick rapid-fire recap. Dhyan dijiyega, direct questions pop up from these exact points, whether you're tackling prelims MCQs or writing a mains essay. All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, Basics of Agriculture, the foundation.
See, every top-scoring mains answer, it always starts with a rock-solid definition. You can't just write whatever comes to mind, you gotta be academically precise. So, agriculture is the science, art, and practice of cultivating plants and livestock. Catch those three keywords? It's not just an art, and it's not just a practice. It's highly technical, so it's absolutely a science too. If you drop this exact keyword combo in your intro paragraph, examiner ko ekdam clear message jayega that your foundation is incredibly solid.
Now, let's quickly trace how this actually shaped human history. It's basically a simple three-step timeline. First, the whole discovery of agriculture led to the rise of sedentary civilization, meaning humans stopped wandering around hunting and actually settled down. Second, farming these domesticated species created this massive food surplus. And third, because of that surplus, people didn't have to spend every waking hour searching for food. That literally allowed them to live in cities and develop entirely new skills. So really, agriculture is the literal foundation of modern urban life.
Moving right along to Section 2, India's farm economy stats. These are your high-yield facts.
Bachcho, build up your focus right here. We're entering the most data-heavy part of the explainer, which is absolutely perfect for prelims. I want you to memorize this vital number right now, 49%. In our Indian agricultural economy, a staggering 49% of the population depends directly or indirectly on agriculture. Guys, that's practically half of our entire country relying on this single sector to survive.
Now, here's a kind of crazy paradox that makes brilliant fodder for your essays. India's net sown area is about 140 million hectares, right? That's roughly 47% of India's total land area. But here is the major catch. Out of that 140 million hectares, only about half, 68.4 million hectares, is actually irrigated. This is a massive structural paradox because agriculture uses over 80% of India's water, and yet almost half of our sown land is just completely at the mercy of the rain. So where is all this farming actually happening? The heavy hitters, our major agricultural states, are Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and Odisha. Now, here's a quick trick to visualize this for your geography papers. Just imagine the vast northern plains moving straight down into the central and eastern plateau. Picture the map of India in your head and just highlight this massive central to northern belt. Trust me, visualizing it like this will save you so much precious time in the exam hall.
All right, shifting gears to Section 3, GDP and growth data. Let's look at the economic reality.
This macroeconomic segment pops up all the time in economy-based MCQs, so pay really close attention here. In 2018-19, services towered over everything at 55.3% of our GDP composition. Industry was at 28.6%, but agriculture, only 16.5%. Now hold on, recall the data we learned literally 2 minutes ago. We have 49% of our population depending on a sector that only contributes a tiny 16.5% to the GDP. This massive, glaring disparity really highlights the core structural challenge of the entire Indian economy. Let's look a little deeper at the gross value added, or GVA. The trend here is super important. Agriculture's share in GVA actually declined from 18.2% in the 2014-15 financial year down to 16.5% in 2019-20. I highly recommend jotting down these exact financial years. Quoting the specific time frame of this declining trend in your answers will for sure fetch you those extra marks. It tells the examiner, hey, I don't just know the theory, I know the actual on-ground timelines. And if we look at the pure growth rate of agriculture, forestry, and fishing combined, it grew at 2.9% in 2018-19, but then dipped slightly to 2.8% in 2019-20.
Now, while it's a slight dip, it's a critical piece of data to use when you're asked to evaluate recent sector performance. It reflects a certain stagnation that desperately needs policy intervention.
Which brings us to Section 4, the land holding challenge, because in farming, size definitely matters.
So why exactly is that growth stagnating? Let's look at the structural issues at ground zero. Here's another massive number to burn into your memory: 80%. Roughly 80% of Indian farmers own less than 2 hectares of land. This extreme fragmentation means that things like modern farming techniques, heavy machinery, large tractors, and economies of scale, they're basically impossible for the vast majority of our farmers to actually use.
If you want to make your answer even punchier, you have to cite authoritative sources. Note this one down. According to the Agricultural Census 2010-11, a whopping 47% of landholdings are less than 0.5 hectare. Guys, this is extreme micro-level fragmentation. When practically half your farms are less than half a hectare, overall efficiency takes a massive, massive hit.
And what's the real-world result of all this fragmentation? Well, 2 small landholdings drive farmers to look for alternate income sources. That brilliant, sharp observation comes straight out of the Niti Aayog 3-year agenda. Let me tell you, casually dropping the Niti Aayog by name in your exam answers will absolutely impress the examiner. It proves you're completely up to speed with premier government think tank documents. Okay, Section 5, Features of Indian Farming. We'll call this the 3 M's and more. We're going to organize these subjective features into super easy, memorable points that you can instantly recall, even when you're stressed out in the exam hall. First off, Indian agriculture is predominantly subsistence agriculture. That just means farmers are largely growing food simply to feed their own families. Now, to remember the rest of the salient features, I want you to use my 3 M's memory trick. Ready? M number 1. Monsoon dependency, because around 60% of our farming still relies on rain. M number 2, marginal, meaning those tiny, fragmented land holdings we just talked about. And M number 3, Mahilan, representing the super high involvement of women in the agricultural workforce. Just remember those 3 M's. Let's look at the crop profile. Thanks to India's incredibly diverse climatic and soil conditions, we have the unique ability to grow tropical, subtropical, and temperate crops. It's amazing. However, despite this huge variety, food crops completely dominate the landscape. About 2/3 of the total cropped area is used strictly for food grains. Why? Because here, agriculture is the absolute backbone of the rural economy, and it plays a do-or-die role in maintaining basic food security for over 1 billion people. But to actually modernize, we have to tackle some major bottlenecks. I want you to literally memorize this exact list of 5 missing infrastructure elements for your bullet points: electricity, storage, water, credit, and marketing. When you combine those with generally low mechanization, these 5 infrastructure gaps are the primary hurdles literally stopping Indian farmers from maximizing their yields. And finally, Section 6, quick recap and notes. Let's lock this in.
Shabash, bachcho. You've done absolutely great. We've chewed through a lot of dense data today, so it's time for a rapid-fire revision to lock all this into your long-term memory. Go ahead and take a screenshot of this cheat sheet right now. Honestly, this is the ultimate summary you're going to need the night before your exam. Let's speedrun it. Population dependent, 49%. Net sown area, 47% of total land. Water used for irrigation, over 80%, yet somehow half our sown area is still rain-fed. And finally, that GDP share, just 16.5%. Seriously, if you know this table by heart, your basics are completely sorted.
So I'm going to leave you with this question. How will you use these exact structural disparities and data points to write an absolute killer essay on the rural economy in your next exam? Time to start practicing. And to help you out with that, go directly to our Telegram channel right now. The link is right down below, and grab today's complete PDF notes. If you found this masterclass helpful, please do like the explainer, share it with your classmates who desperately need a quick revision, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more exam-winning masterclasses. Keep studying hard, and I will see you in the next one.